Hello friends and welcome back. In the last video we have seen on how to configure the application DB context, we have seen on how to add the connection string and also on how to add the entity framework into our project. It's now time to create what we call code first migration, and in order to do that we're going to use the package that I am having here, which is called .NET EF. And if you don't have this installed, you can go ahead and copy this command and you can go into your terminal in here, and I'm going to go into the infrastructure here. I'm going to go into the infrastructure here, and I'm going to paste in this and press enter, and it's going to install this package. After it's done installing this one, you can go ahead and type .NET EF to check if it was successfully installed and the current version that we installed, and you can see that it is now installed successfully as we intended. So you can see that there will be a lot of commands that you can use. For example, you can use .NET EF, there is this migration database, and so on and so forth. So in order to add the migration, first of all we need to say .NET EF as we were instructed, and I'm going to say migrations, and we're going to add, and I'm going to call this as initial migration, and I'm going to specify the output folder on where it will be saved. I'm going to give it the option of -o, and I'm going to say that it will be in the data folder, and to create another folder that is called migrations. And after this we need to specify also the startup project or the starting project as now the API. And this is the way we're going to do this. We're going to press enter and see if this is going to create what we intend to see. So go ahead and press enter and wait. Alright, and you can see that we've successfully created our code first migration. And whenever you go into the data and you go into the migrations and you click on this initial migration and you cross the terminal so as to see what's going on into this file, you can see that there will be this for now, this create table, and we have two methods. The one will be for up and the other one will be for down. The up one will be for creating, and the down will be for destroying or deleting. And we can see that they will be for this create. You can see that we created this table, this one and this one too, and you can see all the properties in here. You can see that it was able to do all of these, and also the constraints, and you can see that we have what we call narrables. You can see that I can have the name as narrable, which is not the behavior that we need. And also for the price, you can see that it is false as it is a decimal, and you can see for the picture URL it is true, and all of the other columns or other fields can be a NAR, and that is not what we intend to have to those kind of data. We will see on how to configure this migration in the next video. But before we do that, I'm going to try to update the database to see if we can get our tables to our database, and we will test to see if we are now getting the tables as intended. To do that, I'm going to go back into the terminal, and I'm going to say .NET EF database, and I'm going to call the update. And after updating this, I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and you can see that it's bringing this error. Whenever you see the error like this one, that it was unable to create an object type application DB context, you can go ahead and say that the starting project again will be the API, and make sure to include this whenever you are going to use the .NET EF. And if you don't do that, it will bring all these kind of shenanigans. Indeed, we don't want that behavior again. I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and you can see that into the information, you can see that it was able to create all of these, and we were successful. There is no error indicated here, so that you can navigate to where there is. So if we don't have any error, it indicates that that is a good news, that we get what we wanted. So inside this extension for Postgres, this is where we're going to test if our database and tables were created. I'm going to click to this extension. If you're going to use it for the first time, you need to create a connection to the Postgres database. I'm going to press to this plus icon, and I'm going to be prompted to add the name of the server, and it is going to be called localhost localhost, that's the name of the server that we have, and it is going to ask us to add now the user. So I'm going to say Postgres, and it is going to ask for the password. I'm going to put it here, nice and safe, and you can see it's going to ask us for the port. I'm going to leave this as 5432, press enter, and it is going to ask me the type of the connection that I need to use. I'm going to leave it as a standard, and you can see that I'm having databases for DB shop it, which indicates that our database get created, and there will be another one for Postgres, but I'm going to click on this one. That's the one that will be shown. I'm going to go ahead and press enter again, and this is how it will be looking into our extension. So whenever I go here and I go inside this DB shop it, and I go into the Fabric folder, you can see that I'm having all of these tables. There will be this for products, there will be this for product types, and there will be this for the product brands. And as I told you, we were having this kind of behavior that we can't tolerate, as we are not going to be getting the empty values in here. That's why we need to tell the entity framework that you need to make these as required fields, and we're going to do that in the next video. But before we do that, as we are not happy with our configuration, I'm going to first drop my database and remove the migration that we created. And again, I'm going to go into my terminal and create the screen, and I'm going to say .NET EF, and I'm going to say the database drop, and I'm going to specify the startup project as API, like this one, and press enter. And once it prompts you to accept this, as you are going to drop the database, this is a crucial action. It will have to double check, and in this case I'm going to press Y, as there is no mistake on deleting that. But make sure that if you're going to delete the database, you have the backup, because you can delete like important information and you can drag yourself into the trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and press yes. And for now, when you go back to the localhost and refresh items, you can see that DB shop it doesn't exist, which means that it was deleted successfully. And also we need to remove the migration. So I'm going to say .NET EF migration, and I'm going to say migrations remove, and also again the startup project will be the API, and press enter, and it's going to delete the migration that we created. And you can see that it was able to delete it, and you can see that this file is now it has like a struck through, which indicates that it no longer exists into our project structure. So whenever we go back, you can see that into the data migrations, we're not having anything. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to configure the migration so as to be able to give the properties the behavior that we need. So we'll see that in the next video, so stay in touch.